You say as always, because yes, we can attest to that, that you're always with us. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other club from Division 23 Central?
Good evening, President Stephen, fellow Kiwanis. I bring you warm brotherly greetings from the members of the Kiwanis Club of North St. Andrew. I'm President Kenton, and there are 9 of us on the chat right now. We look forward to a very informative meeting. We're happy to be a part of the gathering here at Kiwanis Club of Kingston. Thanks for having us.
Hey, President Kenton, you and your delegation, your visit is always appreciated, and we'll always look forward to it. Glad you could make it tonight, and I'm pretty sure you're going to learn a thing or two. Thank you for coming. Any other club from Division 23 Central?
Yes, IPP, good evening. This is LG Sharon. Greetings to all of you, President Stephen, and the rest of the gentlemen from Kingston Club and all the other Kiwanians and visitors online. I'm happy to be here. I think I'm alone right now, but I look forward to a very interesting meeting.
Well, LG Sharon, you know you belong to all of us. And as we always say, whenever you're with Kiwanis Club of Kingston, you're never alone. You're
so true.
You're surrounded by 51 other friends. So welcome, LG.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right. Do we have any SLPs online? Any SLPs? How about guests of Kiwanians? Do we have any guests of Kiwanians online? All right. Do we have any guests online? You weren't invited by a Kiwanian. You just heard that Kiwanis Club of Kingston was a great group of people to hang out with on a Tuesday evening, so you decided to join us. Any such person? All right. Well, it seems as if we have welcomed everyone. As we say, the Kiwanis Club of Kingston meets each Tuesday at 7 p.m. right here. It's an open invitation. We are always happy to see you, and you're always welcomed. And as we always say at Kiwanis Club of Kingston, once you log on to us, you are never, ever alone, right? At this point, I'm going to pass it back to President Stephen.
Thank you, IPP Newton. The next item on the agenda is apologies. I do have an apology from Kiwani and Emmett Clark. Secretary Willie, are there any other apologies?
No, just apart from Treasurer Orville, as we know, it's in Grand Cayman.
Yes. Right. Okay. All right. I'm going to take the opportunity now. Thank you, Secretary Willie, to share with you a project that Kiwanis Club of Kingston. We had a board meeting last night, and we discussed, and we want to get out of the blocks as quickly as possible in terms of making a difference, making an impact. And this is the first project. You should be seeing the flyer on your screen now. A little background to this: the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation is going to be having a fair at 65 Hanover Street, basically in celebration of World Homeless and Wellness Day. And they're going to have a fair on Hanover Street where they're going to be offering all kinds of care packages, facilities, and making the public aware of some of the measures that they're doing. As you know, the Office of Poor Relief is in charge of Marie Adkins, as well as the Desmond McKenzie Shelter, and a number of other facilities in the Kingston area. And so they're taking this opportunity on this Thursday, October 10th, to celebrate World Homeless Day. And in discussions with us, the Kiwanis of Kingston is going to also be participating in it. So it's a kind of pop-up drive. If persons can get their donations in before Wednesday, we'd appreciate that. But even if they don't come in before Wednesday, because the event is Thursday, we will still have a separate ceremony to make a donation to the Office of Poor Relief. As you see from the flyer, we're soliciting donations of particularly men's clothing. with in talking with the Inspector of Office of Poor Relief, the majority of the homeless people are actually males, they're not females. Families tend to take care of their mothers. It's unfortunate reality, more so than the men. So the majority of the persons who need help are actually men, and they need casual clothes. So if you have small and medium, because as you can understand, most of the persons who are homeless or in a destitute situation are not overweight. So sending an extra large t-shirt does not make sense. So if you have men casual clothing, meaning not suits or dress shirts, short sleeve shirts can work, t-shirts, jeans, shorts, obviously toiletries, soap, toothpaste, deodorant. If you have any canned foods, we'll accept all of those items. You can send them, the phone number for myself as well as DLG Willie are on there. If you want to make a cash donation, that's also acceptable. You can get in touch with us and we'll give you the Kiwanis banking information. And we ask for your support. It's short notice, but as Kiwanians, we know that we can rise to the occasion, and it's a worthwhile venture. Those of you who can attend, it will be downtown between 10 and 3 a.m. at Hanover Street. So if you want to pass through, you can pass through. But if you can't make it because of work or other commitments, please make a donation in some shape or form. We'll appreciate it, and it's towards a worthy cause. And at the very end, you'll see that our theme for this year is service, support, and smile. So we're embarking on projects that are going to either have that service component, support, or of course, bringing smiles to communities and to children around Jamaica. So thank you, everybody. I look forward to your support. If you want any other information, you can find out after the meeting. So that's a little promo that I'm sneaking in there. I'm going to move now back to IPP Newton, who is going to share with us any birthdays and anniversaries of club members. Back to you, IPP Newton.
Thank you, President Stephen. And I know some persons will mishear what President Stephen said. Yes. President Stephen did not say you must turn up only with your smile. He said you must turn up with something that brings a smile to the faces of the children across Jamaica. Okay, real worthwhile project, and please support us. All right, in terms of the birthday now, we have 3. Well, it's actually 4, because we have Cynthia, who is the wife of past Chairman George Gilling, who celebrates her birthday today, the 8th. Also does Donna, who is the wife of Kiwanian Gregory Gibson. She also celebrates her birthday today. So anyone on the platform who knows those 2 ladies, please give them a call, tell them happy birthday. You still have 7 plus how much make 12. You have a long time before midnight, so you still have time to give them a call. Also, the big man in the club, DP Chris Robinson, his birthday is going to be on the 10th. So it's 2 days from now will be the birthday of DP Chris Robinson. And please, I need at least 30 persons to call DP Chris. He has given so much stick to Kiwanis that he deserves it. Right? On a happy but a little more somber note, and this one persons in the Kiwanis Club of Kingston can relate to. He is no longer with us, but we have a former member, PD Dudley Ball. Today, PD Dudley would have been 98 years old. And I tell you, there was, I mean, outside of DLG Willie, I can't think of another Kiwanian more dedicated to the cause than PD Dudley. So even though he's gone from us, I would still want us to remember that today he would have been 98 years old. That's it from me, President Stephen.
Thank you, IPP Newton. And I echo those sentiments, birthday as well as recognition for Kiwanis who have really provided human service to the Kiwanis movement. Our next on our agenda, moving along because we really want to hear the guest speaker, I don't want to hold that up, is Kiwanis education. And we have immediate past Lieutenant Governor Desmond Batchelor to share with us again some words on Kiwanis education to bring us up to speed.
Thank you, President Stephen. Good evening,
right.
Good evening, everyone. All right, Kiwanis education. And this has to do with vacancies in the positions of officers and directors. A vacancy in the office of president may be filled by, are you hearing me?
Yes, we are hearing you loud and clear.
Okay,
Loud and clear.
by president-elect or immediate past president or a vice president if one exists. And as provided in the club policy, this is mandatory policy C of the respective clubs. So different clubs will have their policy as to who will fill the position of the president. If there is no specific indication in the policy, then the board must decide which of the three offices will fill the position as president. For the immediate past president, a vacancy in this office will be filled by the most recent president who is willing and able to serve. If the president from the last administration continues to serve as president in this administration, then the immediate past president will be from the previous year. And of course, provided that person is willing and able to serve. For all other positions, for officers and directors, new elections must be held within 60 days, provided 14 days previous notice of the meeting and nomination is given to the members. And I would say it is ultra vires the bylaws and policies for persons to be appointed to these vacancies with only the approval of the board. That is, it is beyond the power and authority of the board to appoint persons to these vacancies instead of conducting new elections. This decision by the board may be rescinded by the membership and new elections called. If the secretary was appointed and a vacancy exists, the president will appoint someone to fill the vacancy, subject to the approval of the board. If the secretary, however, was elected by the membership or there was a combined position of secretary and treasurer, new elections must be held. Finally, just a note that except for the secretary treasurer, no one person can occupy more than one board position. And that's it for Kiwanis Education, President Stephen. Thank you.
Thank you, IPLG Desmond. As always, very informative and relevant. I hope that of all the various Kiwanis that we have on board, and we have a good turnout this evening, that that this is relevant and helpful to them in their various clubs. Next, we have the pre-birthday Kiwanian, who is going to do the introduction for PDT Ralston. That is none other than DP Chris Robinson. Chris, are you there to introduce our guest speaker?
Thank you, President Stephen. Good evening. Good evening, fellow Kiwanians and visitors. Before I introduce our guest speaker, to start with, I don't think we have a guest speaker. We have a main presenter, because the person who's speaking tonight is no guest. You can usually find him here on a Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock, making his contributions to whatever discussions that we're having. So we're not going to call him any guest, but he's our main speaker tonight. And I would also want to take issue with IPP Newton. He mentioned a Kiwanian who's no longer with us and say only DLG really, can match that Kiwanian. But I'm here to say that, in my opinion, our speaker tonight also falls into that category of exemplary Kiwanians. And indeed, I am honored tonight to be asked to just introduce our main speaker for tonight's program. And it's a person who has lived and worked hard, and all his actions embodies the 6 objects of Kiwanis International. He has, through his leadership, contributed to the growth and development of Kiwanis in Jamaica and the Kiwanis Club of Kingston in particular, on a sustained basis since he became a member of the club in 1996. He has worked hard and tirelessly as a Kiwanian and has moved up through the ranks to eventually become the president of the club during the year 2008 to 9. On his way to the presidency, he has served as committee chairman, as a director, as the club secretary, as vice president, and of course as president in 2008-2009. And of course, under his leadership, the club became a distinguished club. He has been consistent in his leadership role within the Kiwanis movement, and beyond serving as the president of the club, he has served at the divisional level and even at the district level. He's a strong supporter of the SLP program, and he has been a very active member of the club leadership education officer training program each year. He serves the Division 23 East, that former glorious division of 23 East, not quite as glorious because they have split up now, but as Lieutenant Governor in the year 2013-2014. And as Lieutenant Governor, he had a truly exemplary year. After serving as Lieutenant Governor, he continued to offer his service to the Kiwanis movement and was elected as a district trustee for the 20 a district trustee, and served from 2016 to 2019 in that position. And indeed, everyone still remembers Ralston as a district trustee. I remember one of the things he always said is that this thing about getting up and talking about all protocols observed, we ought not to do it. And he made sure that all our clubs remember that when any member gets up to speak, that there are no such thing as all protocols observed, because you really don't know what protocols are being observed. He has served as Secretary Treasurer for the All Island PLG Committee, and currently is the chairman of the past Lieutenant Governor's Council for Division 23 Central. On a personal level, I could say much more about our speaker tonight. But let me tell you that from his work in Kiwanis, he has earned the respect and the love of all Kiwanians who have come across him. And so, my fellow Kiwanians, it is my great pleasure to ask you to welcome our main presenter tonight, past district trustee and member of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston, Ralston Nunes.
Thank you, Chris. Am I being heard?
Yes, you are.
I was about to say all protocols observed, but if Chris says it's not appropriate, then I certainly will not attempt to use that. President Stephen, Lieutenant Governor Sharon, other members of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston, and indeed our visitors, good evening. Firstly, let me congratulate the new administration and wish them all the success possible. You know, a Kiwanian New Year is always an exciting time with various installations and expectations, anticipations. It signals where your club is in the estimation of those using the measuring tools that were established by Kiwanis International. And indeed, it's also an expensive time, especially for the ladies. And I'm sure that the LG will attest to that, because the ladies have to come out all decked out in their best each night. And I think it is a very expensive time of the year, but it's worth it in the end, because it provides some pleasing sights to those of us who are seeking pleasing sights. I was asked to give my perspective on the topic, what does it take to have a successful Kiwanis club? Thus, we must first agree on what constitutes a successful club. You know, what determines success? Are you achieving upwards of 70% of your club's aims? Is your club happy? These, I posit, are the two main ingredients of a successful club. If your goals are well set, I know you will strive to achieve 100%, but if you get to 70 and above, in my mind, you are in the ballpark. The challenge is how we get there. How do we achieve the cohesion that is vital if we are to rate our clubs as being successful? The secrets to a successful club lives within the balance and partnership between high quality coaching, receptive membership, effective governance, and leadership that provides direction and does not necessarily practice micromanagement of the club's program. So we are implored to lead without controlling. You know, and in my former career, a kind of autopilot situation where you look at your plan, set the parameters, and let it go, you know, let it fly. What you are required to do is to monitor, make the necessary adjusting inputs, and ensure no major deviations from the planned course, unless some storm lie ahead requiring such radical action. That, in a nutshell, is the approach to success, the completion of the journey. And it's plan, strategize, and execute. Now, there are different reasons why one joins a service organization. But among the many reasons, the primary reason is usually to give back to communities, which really is a recognition, you know, that you yourself are or were the recipient at some point in time of someone else's kindness, help, their goodness. Because you see, you can't give back unless you receive. In the case of formation of new clubs, the process is usually easier since all inputs are new and the team can more easily coalesce around a developing strategy. But for existing clubs, where some aspects are deeply rooted best practices, it could prove somewhat challenging at times. But we need to identify and admit. Identify the negatives and also the things that are advantageous to the club. Obviously, the objective is to rid ourselves of the negatives and appreciate things that have gotten us to where we are today. And we're also called to develop an open mind to be amiable to conditional changes. Conditional because change that does not improve the club is of no value. So it is essential and we need to ensure that our meetings are productive and valuable to the club, and persons find them interesting. So making the meetings worthwhile is a key to member engagement. The aim is to be vibrant, active, attractive, and happy. When persons hear laughter in a room, they become inquisitive. What's going on? And it is a natural human tendency that they want to know and maybe experience the source of that happiness. The club's experience must be the biggest drawing tool. So our members, each of us must have a why. And we need to help our members create and know their why. Because normally they know what they do and how they do it. But at times, it is not broken down sufficiently to realize why they do it. So understanding your why and being able to share it can help members to better connect and also draw new members into the fold. The why motivates, it drives us and inspires us to do. Our members must feel valued and important to the success of the club, and as such, never be allowed to forget their why. Now, we all know that there are many tasks to be accomplished in a club. Tasks which should be shared and some given to our newer members, even if it means bucking their toes, making small mistakes, but they must be given some slack to operate. And it's a great way for them to learn. And the missteps can be curtailed under the mentorship of the older, more experienced members. You see, if the same person keeps doing the same task over and over, you run the risk of them being burnt out, except really, while the new, not engaged members get bored into finding another place where there is value to their contribution. So we must provide that mentorship of our future leaders. In my mind, if the recruiting procedures are well thought out, then every member then is a leader and a potential president of the club. And so we must understand that recruitment must be a structured, rigorous process to ensure that each person has the qualities desired of a good Kiwanian, qualities of leadership. Because who we recruit today will become the face of the organization tomorrow. They must understand that they are becoming part of something bigger than themselves. Kiwanis International, massive global organization. And so for us to keep active and enjoy success, KI's and our club history and the impact of our projects must be touted and recorded for posterity. Do members know the club's impact on communities throughout its history? The communities that have been changed, the significant impact on individual lives. So it may require modernizing our method of communication. As some members will prefer email or WhatsApp, whereas some will want the traditional club bulletin newsletter. So a successful club must be versatile in how it communicates to its members in order that it reaches all its members and get maximum external publicity, thus increasing the club's visibility. So friends, having quality and relevant speakers are keys. And I think we have that formula lock, right, Stewie? However, we must ensure a healthy balance between speakers' podium and practical projects. Because remember now that projects are the lifeline, especially for those who we serve. And we speak about Hanover Street. Those projects are extremely valuable, not only to us, but to those who receive what we have to offer. That is how we give back. And so we must choose projects members care about and is the result of a community analysis done to maybe kind of identify holes within the communities and how we can best plug them. That community analysis will give us a sense of what type of projects matters most. And if we are doing projects for years, and I know some of them, we must make sure it is still relevant and not being done just because of tradition. Simultaneously, a member survey is essential and should be done, in which we ask members what would excite and ignite them into action. See, if we understand members' demographics, we can better plan projects and fun events that provide opportunities for fellowship that they will appreciate. Our young doctors doing a health fair. Our automotive expert teaching some budding mechanics. This is how we utilize our members. Thus, we utilize their talents and highlight their professional achievements. The clubs should recognize and big up success. Celebrate and congratulate members' success. From the small congrats pat on the back in club meeting to presenting plaques, no show of gratitude is too small. And proper recognition goes a long way in making our members feel valued. And we should not only rely on Kiwanis International and the district to present plaques and pins at the year's end, but we should recognize small acts that members might think go unnoticed, but is valuable, such as a member's benevolence to another. A member picks up another for a meeting. We heard it earlier, sending birthday or anniversary cards and condolences are all little acts that put value in membership. And we will propel our members to share their experiences with others by word of mouth. Now we have to understand that members are our best advertisers. And guess what? It is free. They don't charge us to advertise. So having said all that, let me now venture into choppy waters, which does not pose a difficulty for me, for those of us who don't meet. So while we must embrace change that improve us, that's the condition, change that improve us, there are some lasting tenets that have served us well in this club since 1964. And in my mind, is non-negotiable. Frequency and manner in which we meet jumps at me. Friends, we must get back to some version of face-to-face. That is the genesis of almost everything that made us a successful club. Physical interclubs, road trips, committee meetings in homes that allowed us to know families and vice versa. These are things that we cherish and will have to embrace. Now we go on to members' responsibility to the club. There are few, but of utmost importance. And two of the most vexing ones are regularity and punctuality. I don't think this club suffers from punctuality, maybe regularity. But a club cannot attract busy persons if our meetings aren't structured and we adhere to the practice of punctuality. You see, it facilitates proper planning and allow slotting in our meeting in a tight schedule, confident that you will be out by a known time. Also, a club cannot become solely a talk shop. We must arrive at a healthy balance, although it's best to tip the scale on the side of giving service in getting that healthy balance. Since COVID, we have gone online, but off track. And we run the risk of falling into a routine that leads to boredom and members exiting the club. Online meeting has some advantages, but I do question the ability to be in multiple meetings at the same time and get anything of worth out of any of them. I really don't think a club meeting should be brought to the comfort of a person's bedroom or their kitchen. Membership, in my mind, requires commitment. It comes at a cost, whether in time or resources. That is what puts value in membership and contributes to success. However, while holding on to some of those things, we ought to be innovative. And a call to leave your blessed memory should not suddenly return and feel comfortable because nothing has changed over the years. And our meetings are predictable with the same participants doing the same duties week after week. Let's spread it around, get other persons involved. So friends, let's commit to trying something new. Think of one thing that as a club we could drop, or one thing that we could adopt in trying to hold meetings with a difference. Indeed, the possibilities are endless. New members can do Kiwanis education because the material is available. It just requires some research, which is good for the new member, and it allows them to present and participate in our meetings. The playing of such active roles heighten their interest and give them a sense of belonging. And so the formula for a successful club revolves around recruiting new quality members who are targeted in what I refer to as spear fishing as opposed to net fishing, where we select that quality and return to the sea for further maturity those that require improvement. We must speak frequently about Kiwanis and ask persons. You see, recently I heard a presentation at a Kiwanis installation where the guest speaker was a Rotarian. But more instructively, she was also a past key clubber. And the reason for not being a Kiwanian, having grown up in the family, is she was never asked or invited to join our movement. Therein lies a gap, which is easily filled. As a club, we must have clear club goals and strategic plans that are easily accessible to all. And when I say all, not only members, our strategic plan should almost be a public document. That's how we attract persons, because they want to see that we are doing things. We should produce and have bulletins, newsletters, and club fact sheets, which can be placed in doctors and legal offices and other prominent public places, advertising who we are and what we do. A club should always seek to invite the media to cover our speakers, not necessarily tonight. And we should also invite guests to our meetings and follow up with them, find out how they felt about our meetings and are they interested in becoming a part of us in sharing our experience. And it segued me into reestablishing ourselves as a face-to-face club, where we can reinstitute our, remember that welcoming strategy with our team of greeters at the meeting to meet visitors and to make them feel welcome. All that has been lost because we are not meeting face-to-face. President, I think our membership chair should be given a minute at every meeting to highlight the benefits of membership, as our commitment to grow is an all-year-round activity and not really an end-of-year one when we are searching to find members to fill some criteria. It must involve every member who is proud of their club experience and should be anxious to want to share it. Finally, inductions are special occasions and should be treated as such. Each new inductee should be provided with a welcome kit, encouraged to have guests and family at the ceremony. It's a proud moment, and we should urge them to wear their pins continually. A part of the strategy for success must be to honor outstanding community members. It has a tremendous effect, as proven by the Kiwanis Club of Stony Hill recently, where they awarded a street cleaner. And the fact that it was his first such award, and he had many awards on which to display his first award. I think it was something that the Kiwanis Club of Stony Hill should be congratulated for. President, I am imploring you that we have joint membership drive, maybe with 2 or 3 other clubs, and involve corporate members. We should produce and provide each member of the club with decals or bumper stickers. Every Kiwanian car should be identifiable. So now that we are successful, how do you lead a successful club? And I would suggest to you, Mr. President, and all other leaders on this call, that you invite members into decisions that affect them, that you stimulate balanced discourse in the club, and that you time your meeting to finish on time. And if you do nothing else, I implore you, President, to listen and listen well. A successful club is a club that embraces each and every member. And we are all on the same level as in other organizations that Chris will tell you about. But when people feel that they are a part of something and they're a valued part of that thing, they will ensure that the club reap the type of success that we seek after over all these years. They will speak about the club proudly, and they will pull their friends and their family into our clubs. The reality is that Kiwanis Worldwide has been seeing a slide in membership, and that is not the case in ECNC, but primarily because of the Caribbean clubs. So we are still seeing a rise, but we cannot be complacent. The fact is that persons come, persons go because of many various reasons, job, posting in different areas. And so it is essential that we continue to recruit quality persons to become Kiwanian. And that is how we can ensure the success of our clubs as we go forward into this new dispensation with a world that is changing so fast. And so again, President, as I come to a close, I am imploring us to ensure that we have an open mind, we embrace change, but we embrace change conditionally, because that change has got to bring some improvement to our movement. And I'm sure that when these two gentlemen started in 1915, they had no idea what they had started, but they press on. And over the 109 years, other persons have taken up the baton and have been pressing on. It is for us, members of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston, and indeed Kiwanians in all the clubs, to ensure that Kiwanis remains the service club of choice, not only in Jamaica, but across Eastern Caribbean and Eastern Canada and the Caribbean, and indeed across the world, because we are a global movement. And I say movement deliberately, because movement to me carries a little bit more meaning than just an organization. President, I am open for any questions, discussions that might come from that presentation. I want to thank you and thank my friend Stuart for, well, he didn't have to twist my hand, President. Maybe I was chomping at the bits to make a presentation to my club. And again, as I said at the beginning, I wish you and your administration all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, PD Ralston. I know it's coming from the heart and from a very good place. I noticed that you directed a lot of the points to the president, but as you are well aware, there's no I in team. And although as president, I'm at the top of the head of the stream, it's going to take a team effort of all of us, all Kiwanians in Kingston and otherwise, to make this a reality. I will do my part, obviously, and I've taken copious notes from your presentation, some of which I have already included in my strategic plans and shared with the board, but I will also incorporate some of those new elements which I thought were very good. And some of them, if I may, are quite simple, like even the bumper stickers, which are, I thought, a good suggestion. That is a way of associating with Kiwanis and being proud to be a member of Kiwanis. And I don't think it's an insurmountable activity. So that's something that we definitely are going to take on a smaller scale, as well as some of the larger suggestions that you have made in your presentation. DP Stu, should I accommodate the questions, or do you want to negotiate the questions? Because we have a record number of Kiwanians who are on the call, and I'm sure they also may have questions or comments to ask of the PDT Ralston based on his presentation.
Yeah, I think we should take some questions, but I don't see any hands up right now. So I'm still looking.
So yes, we have.
Let's open it out.
Yes,
I'm sure that IPP Newton will have some questions. You know, he always questions.
It's a Kingston meeting, but it's open to everybody, as you can well appreciate. So can we have the questions, comments, and so forth? IPP Newton, you're chomping.
If I may, President, yes. I have no question, but I have one comment. And it's that from a join the Kiwanis movement and the Kiwanis Club of Kingston. I hate to say it in public, but PDT Ralston has been one of my persons who I always listen to closely. One, he has all the facts. And two, he doesn't really have a filter when it comes. He's going to tell it to you straight. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, well, you know, tough luck. And I love that, because you can't grow unless you know the truth, right? So he's not going to soft soap it and you go away feeling like, hey, things are great when they aren't. So he's one of the persons who I really appreciate for his knowledge and his candid manner of bringing it forward. As I said early on, I really hate to say nice things about him in public, but I was forced to.
But you know, President, when you really, for those of us who have spent a number of years in Kiwanis and been really dedicated, if you try to quantify in monetary terms the time spent and the resources spent, maybe the only other investment that would be greater than that is buying a house. And the reality is that when you make investments, you don't make them to fail. And so, you know, it is something that you become passionate about, and you try to help persons, because in helping persons, the burden become a little bit lighter.
Riley, let me share something in terms of adding to your perspective. One thing that I think is vital, and we have had a fairly good collection of what I'm going to mention, but I think that the input of past presidents, people who have served in the presidency, I mean, there are some persons who, after they have served as president, they feel, okay, I've given it my all. It's time for me to relax. But I really would like to encourage those who have served to recognize that a club needs your continued expertise, and don't just say it's time to relax. It's time to continue the work. And there's one other thing for me, I found it. Momentum. The word momentum is very important. I find that when you slack off in terms of what you're doing, or you interrupt the flow, it is very easy to get distracted and not get back in stride. But momentum, you can keep the momentum, because I think that Kiwanis, it must be a habit. You know, I remember the day, I mean, people who used to just block out the time and say, okay, this is Kiwanis time. So it does non-negotiable. So you need members who are willing to just make the time and also keep that momentum going. Because as I said, once you break it, sometimes you drop off the rails. I just wanted to throw that in. You might comment if you...
You know, Stuart, let me kind of comment on what you have said, because and I just saw my good friend Vivian name come up, but I didn't see her comment. But I'm sure that she can understand what I'm trying to say. It is said that the two most likely time for someone to leave the movement is after they have just joined, when their expectations are not met and what they came for is not happening or happening fast enough. And the second time is after they have made a major achievement and they feel that this is it. I am satisfied, and that's it. And so a lot of presidents have done that. We'll take leave. You know, but you're right, momentum is what keeps you going, because it's the hardest thing to take a break and come back. You are correct.
Remember, the questions are open, Kiwanians. Now is the time to ask. Don't be shy. You don't need to turn on your camera. Just open your microphone and share your thoughts or your questions of PDT Ralston. New Kingston, Montego
I have a
Bay,
question.
Carlton. Yes, go ahead. LG, you have the floor.
Yes, so I have noticed over time that many clubs have a problem with time and time management in terms of starting meetings on time, starting events on time. And I think it's reached chronic. It's a chronic situation now where it's almost we're used to starting everything late. So people come late. Even the people who are in charge of the meetings are coming late, coming into the meetings at the time when the meeting is supposed to start, and that is when preparations are being made to put the meeting in place, in order, the meeting place in order and all of that. And my question is, how can we get back to a place where we respect people's times? Because things like that can turn off visitors, people who, busy people who have things to do and, want to give back and want to spend, time in, coming to a meeting and so on, but don't have an hour to waste sitting down, waiting on a meeting to start. How can we get our Kiwanians back into the habit of respecting time, starting on time, finishing on time? Because I think that is a major part of why we might not be attracting certain types of persons into our meetings and so on. So that's my question.
Well, LG, your observation is spot on. I joined a club that used to meet during the lunchtime, and therefore we were forced, and I see my good friend Trevor Christian on. He was a sergeant major in the cadet force also, but we were forced to start on time if we are going to get in the meeting, and we were guided by a time agenda. And president would pull your coat if you were going beyond your time. And so we developed that type of discipline. I think that it is practice because it becomes almost ingrained now that a Kiwanis meeting is going to start late. And when I say late, it goes to 45 minutes late, 1 hour and 9 minutes late. How do you curb it? It's a massive task. I have taken a position that if I wait to a certain point, I get up and I leave. I don't know if it have any effect on those who remain, but it is, you use the right word, it is chronic and it is not productive because so many persons are losing half an hour, 45 minutes, and cumulatively it comes up to a whole heap of time. I don't know, but our presidents, our leaders have got to understand, if you're 3 persons in your meeting, start your meeting. That's the only way we're going to break the monster of unpunctuality.
Can I make a follow-up comment on that?
Yes, go ahead, DP Martha.
Yes, right. I was listening to that calling out of timeliness, and I think that's where it begins. And if there's a word I would use, and it really is not just to us in Kiwanis, but to Jamaica, is one word: order. I think that has happened. We have become disorderly. We have lost a sense of order. And the order begins with that thing of punctuality and timeliness. We make the excuse that people are caught in traffic and they have some of the commitments and things. But I think PDT Ralston said it just now. I remember being at meetings where there was just 2 or 3 persons in the room. And it was said, it is now 7 o'clock. This meeting of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston is called to order. Let me tell you what that does. Some people are gonna miss some important parts of the thing, but when they come 10 or 15 minutes late and they realize that 15 minutes has gone of the meeting, it tells them that the meeting started on time. You know what will happen to them the next time? They will find the way, not a way. They will find the way to be ahead of the traffic, to put aside this and to be there at 7 o'clock. That is what will do it, Start the meeting, because sometimes what we get low into this, you can say, why enough people are not there and they're gonna miss this. Just start.
what
You have the time.
is that, and the LG alluded to it, is that somebody busy and they can find an hour and a half to slot in a Kiwanis meeting. But when they come, it's they're experiencing the grand waste of time, either by a late start or a late finish. And a late person have the option of leaving. But sometimes you want to get the fullness of the meeting.
Yes.
So for them, the next alternative is to do something else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And of course, it's the preparation because things must be done before. I mean, won't say where, but I've been to a meeting recently and others when it was something that should have been done hours before, if not the day before. Were just being done at that time, you know, lack of order.
We have a hand up.
Noted.
Earl.
Yes, and I was going to say, in the interest of time management, also on that point, we're going to just take 2 more questions or comments. So first DP Earl and then DLG Anthony, before we conclude this part of the presentation. But of course, other questions can be asked after the meeting because PDT Ralston will be around to answer any further questions post-meeting that you may have. But go ahead, DP Earl. Sorry, Stuart.
Not hearing you, Earl. I don't know if you're muted.
There's a KC man, you know, so.
All right, I'm going to make DLG Anthony speak first, and then by that time, hopefully DP Earl will unmute his mic. Go ahead, DLG. You have the floor.
Yeah, good evening, everyone, and President, congratulations. Past Trustee Ralston, you have spoken very well, sir. It shows experience, skill, and competence, and congratulations. I just want to touch on 2 things. So many things you have mentioned, but you spoke about the face-to-face meeting. And yes, we have to embrace change. Change is something that we have to embrace. And one of the changes is the advent of the increased technology brought about, particularly by COVID. And so we have our club members who would have to log on to club meetings from time to time. And it could be that is their only way or their main way. But I must emphasize and agree with you that we somehow have to get back to basics with the face-to-face meeting. It is so important because that is the genesis of Kiwanis, and we're talking about way back from 1960. So although we are embracing change, one of the things that we have to really focus on is the face-to-face meetings. It stimulates growth, it enhances camaraderie, and sometimes I can say that when you have 100 persons on the platform, say we have 100 participants, there's no way that you know some of the emotional challenges that some of our members are going through. A face-to-face meeting can pick that up very, very easily. You see persons' countenance, you see persons' challenges, you see persons' successes. So I do implore partner with the clubs to get back to face-to-face as often as possible. The second point and final point is in relation to time. Time management is very, very important, but we can practice time management if we culturalization, and culturalize not a cost of the culture of time management, then anything goes. So what it means therefore are a couple of things. 1, you have to be very strategic. 2, you have to send a message to the other clubs and other participating clubs, as well as our own club members, that this is what we stand for, time. So when persons know they're coming to a particular club, when I say a particular club, I mean some clubs are known for time management, then they will fall in line. So strategic planning, effective planning, and a resolution to start your meeting on time, because persons have diverse things to do, family, professional, business, and otherwise. And once we get into that culturalization, persons are going to fall in line. It may be difficult, it may be challenging, but we need to start somewhere and continue. Again, congrats, Sir Ralston, and thanks for allowing me, President Stephen, at the mic.
No problem, DLG. Anthony, glad to have you back. I see DP Earl. I'm giving you 1 minute to put in your thoughts. Can you unmute now? You're back with us. We're seeing you live and clear, loud and clear. Still muted, Earl. Hold on. No, we're not hearing you, Earl. DP Earl. We're seeing your lips moving and we're seeing, but we're not hearing you loud and clear. All right. Maybe I saw you logged off and you logged back on, but we're still having that problem. All right, we'll come back to you maybe after the meeting. Try logging off again and logging on. There's some kind of technical difficulty. But at this point, again, with time management, I really want to finish the meeting within the time that is assigned. I'm going to hand over to Director Rupert, who's going to give a vote of thanks, not to our guest speaker, but to our main presenter, as he was described so aptly by DP Chris earlier. Over to you, Director Rupert.
Thank you, Prez. I don't recall hearing past District Trustee Ralston ever in my time of knowing him being somebody who don't cut to the chase. He loves to speak his mind, and I think tonight is one of those, and we just want to thank him for doing it. He was a pilot in times past. I remember that, but I think he gave us an overview looking on the big picture from way up in the air, and he has a way of putting things and allowing us to see how we should go. One thing he hasn't addressed though is whether we should allow women to join the club. That's another thing I'm gonna ask him to deal with on behalf of the rest of us as we go along. But we just want to say thank you, past District Trustee. You did yourself proud, and by doing yourself proud, you make us all feel genuinely proud too. Thank you for being here. Unfortunately, I know you don't want any certificate or anything like that. Unfortunately, I don't drink, but I promise I'll get you something next time I see you on behalf of the club. So thank you on behalf of the club, sir, the gentlemen of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston, along with all our brothers and sisters who are here with us from other clubs and friends and neighbors who have joined us. We thank you for an excellent presentation. Thank you, Doc.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And so say all of us. And they're being displayed on the screen is.
Oh, the certificate is there. Yeah, he has gotten so many of them over the years, so that I was thinking that we could give him something else. Not gonna be in a bottle because I know he can't handle that too well, but I'll probably get him a nice mint or two on behalf of the club.
Okay.
It will be faithfully received, my friend.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, moving along, gentlemen and ladies. Sergeant at Arms, Vice President Zuri, are you online to share with us, collect some dues and fines from our Kiwanians? Zuri, are you there? I'm not seeing him. Anybody seen Zuri? All right, in the absence of Zuri, I'm going to level a fine.
I am here.
Oh,
I've been saying I am
okay,
here.
my apologies, sir. I hear you now. Go ahead. Go ahead, Zuri. Sorry about that.
All right. Good evening, my Kiwanian family. So we're going to be doing some street talk quite quickly this evening. So what do you get when you cross a road with a musician? A traffic jam. And why did the bike fall over? because it was too tired. And what's a car's favorite meal? Breakfast. All right. So now for the fines. On Saturday, we had a beautiful installation ceremony. So I'm going to give credit to the organizers. And tonight, I wish to highlight and fine two of the organizers or advisors, as there were some eyes missing and IPPs became PPs. So Dale G. Willie and DP Chris, $300 each. PP Jr. for his nail-biting performance at last evening's board meeting and his now customary yarns, $600. And for the man with the math, 7 plus how much make 12? 7 plus 5, and so I think a fine of $500 is apt, right? And also for missing your place at the head table on Saturday. And Kiwani and Warren McDonald, I cannot leave you out for your breaking news, which seemed to have bordered a little bit on a constitutional breach, $500. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you very much, VP Zuri. The one comment no, I'm not going to find him. His jokes are good this time. But
can we have a judicial review of that, President?
The only comment I would make is that with all comedians, a lot of it has to do with timing. So the jokes come so quickly. If he has just a pregnant pause between the jokes, I think people will get it a little faster. But still on point. Thank you very much, Zuri. Funny, and please, persons who are fined, please pay your dues as indicated by the Sarge. And I'd also on the flip side, like to make a public thank you to two of the organizing committees members. On a serious note, they have spent a lot of time and a lot of their efforts behind the scenes to make the installation that we had on Saturday a success. So DLG Willie Reeson and DP Chris Robinson from myself and the club, we'd like to thank you for your efforts, and it was very much appreciated, and it was definitely a contributor to the success that the installation was. So thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. We're going to move now. You're most welcome. We're going to move quickly now to notices and announcements. DLG Willie, do you have any notices and announcements?
Yeah, very quickly, President Stephen. Crystal Ball Planning Committee meeting is scheduled for Thursday, October 10th. But this may be subject to the tickets, having the tickets in hand for Thursday night meeting, but we'll advise the members of the committee by tomorrow afternoon. Just to advise you that the Governor Pam Rodney White church service, she's invited to church service at the University of Commonwealth on Sunday, October 12th at 9 a.m. And on the same day, there is an installation ceremony and brunch, Kiwanis Club of Constant Spring and Barbican at the summit on Chelsea Avenue, and that begins at 11 a.m. Contribution is $5,000. And apart from that, another installation we have been invited to is tomorrow evening, Cyber Connect. Their installation is vocational training development training room in Gordon Town Road, 630, cost $1,000. In terms of interclubbing opportunities, I'll advise the members during the course of the week. Those are announcements for the time being. President Stephen, you may want to ask any member of any visiting club if they have any announcement, they may do so now. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, DLG Willie. Visiting Kiwanian clubs, do you have any announcements that you'd like to share this time? The floor is yours. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, President Stephen.
Go ahead. Yes, Director Crystal, I recognize you. You have the floor.
Okay, thank you. The Kiwanis Club of Montego Bay will be having our 10th annual diabetes awareness health fair on the 2nd of November, which is the first Saturday. You're all invited. The time is from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So for any information, please feel free to reach out to me or any other members of the Kiwanis Club of Montego Bay. Also, this Thursday, we'll be having a joint meeting with the Kiwanis Club of Coastal Trelawney at 7 p.m. I know that the flyer is already circulating, so just hop on and be at our meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Crystal. And members, please note that those events in Western Jamaica, if you can make it. Any other clubs have any announcements? Now is the time to share
Yes,
it.
good evening,
Good
President
evening,
Stephen.
Peter. I'm hearing you.
Yes. Kiwanis Club Trafalgar's our installation will be of directors and officers on the 23rd of October, right at Arden High School. And it's 3,005, inviting everyone to come on out. All right.
All right.
It's black and 3-5.
3-5. Okay.
50-50 including.
Good
evening. This is
Good evening,
Director Terry Ann.
I hear you.
Yes, go
Papine,
ahead.
go
Okay,
ahead.
great.
Yes.
This is Director Terry Ann from the Kiwanis Club of Papine. There's the 17th of October will be our installation. It will be online, and we're inviting everyone to come along. And we have an interesting guest speaker. We're sure it will be a wonderful night for all as we kick off this new Kiwanis year. So I'm hoping we'll see everyone there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Terry Ann, where can they get the link for this installation, the online installation?
All right. So as you said that we have a link, but we will be posting it in, I think, the secretary's group. And let me see if I can drop it in this chat.
Yes.
Let me put it in this chat. All right. Thank you so much.
No problem. No problem.
All right.
Hi, President Stephen.
Hi, President Joan. You're recognized. You're on the floor. You have the microphone.
All right, mic check 1 2 1 2.
Got it.
I'm not sure if it was mentioned earlier because I fell off. But we just wanted to make mention of our joint workshop, online workshop, the Nation Builders Kingston, Young Professional St. Andrew, our sponsor club, Kiwanis Club of Kingston, as well as 23 CSO. We'll be having a joint youth protection workshop. That's next week on the 17th, the Thursday, 7 p.m. And we invite everyone to come out, log in and learn about the youth protection guidelines. And our guest speaker will be none other than the dynamic DLG Beverly.
It will be good.
I will be sharing the flyer in the chats as well as here on the Zoom.
Okay.
Okay. We'll be singing.
Well, we shall see.
Okay.
All right. And before we close off, again, I'm sharing with you Kiwanis Club of Kingston's Hope for the Homeless, our charity drive. I mentioned it at the beginning. Some of you may not have seen it. We're soliciting donations of men's casual clothing, size medium and small, soap, toothpaste, toiletries, canned and food items. The deadline is actually Wednesday. If you can't make the deadline, please send them in anyway. We will make plans so that it does get to the Office of Relief, Poor Relief rather, but we're trying to do everything for this Thursday. So we need to get it by Wednesday midday so we can package it and get it down to the Office of Relief, Poor Relief. I keep getting that mixed up for Thursday. So please, if you can call myself or DLG Willie for additional information, or you can drop it off at my office, which is on 39 Hope Road. Cash donations are also allowed. All right. Before we go and conclude, is there, DP Marcel, do you have any thoughts of the week? that you'd like to share with the meeting?
Get set and ready to go. Today is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday. Let me say that again.
Yes,
Today
slowly.
is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday. Embrace the moment, enjoy the present, and stop chasing shadows. Have a great night and rest of week.
Thank you. A fitting note to conclude our meeting. As usual, we have a lot of people online. If you'd like to discuss more about how we can all become successful Kiwanians and build a better Jamaica, please stay on the call. DP Stu might be playing some music for us, but we also, although we're concluding the meeting similar to that, if we had a actual in-person meeting, there can be after meeting discussion. So that's what we're trying to encourage, that when we have the face-to-face meetings, post-meeting, there's always people hanging back who would like to talk about whatever. And even though we have a virtual meeting, the facility is still there for post-meeting discussion. So on that note, I am going to terminate the meeting. Let me see if I can find my gong. And keeping with the theme of Kiwanis.
Before you terminate the meeting, President
Yes, sir.
Stephen,
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
you know, this is your project here is the first time I'm seeing a project which discriminates against persons who give. Because you specifically said that
Yes.
you don't want
Yes.
anything from anybody who wear anything larger than a medium.
Yes. So
And you know, so that is that discrimination against me.
no, but I'm sure there was a time, DP Chris, when you were much slimmer. So you just have to find those clothes.
No, those would be too old. Those would be too old.
Those would be too old.
That could work again.
They were telling me how you used to be a cricketer and so forth. So I know that there was a time when you were slightly smaller. So
yes, yeah, that was about 45 years ago.
Okay. But do what you can. If it's not clothes, you can give some tin food or something like that. Socks, shorts, anything like that would be appreciated.
Okay.
All right. So on that note, I now officially call this meeting of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston terminated.
Toast.
I wish
Stephen.
we should. Sorry, my apologies.
Kiwanis International Friendly Jamaica.
And ask that you raise your glasses, and in the case I have a mug here, and wish a toast to Kiwanis International and Jamaica land we love.
That we love.